in this series wherein we are intending to discuss the principles of statutory provisions interpretation, wherein we'll be trying to find out and understand the rules those are relevant for understanding and interpreting the law. Friends, as we all are aware, this series I have announced in, I think, in May or maybe June 2020. But because of first, the issue was the due dates which were there for the compliances, and therefore I got the request that we should postpone it. And then thereafter, the corona and a lot of issues has happened. Because of that, somehow this series I was not able to start. But I always believe it is better later than never. So therefore, now we are starting this series, and I am sure that in the coming sessions, because today it's an introduction only that I am trying to cover. Reason being, there are many participants who said that we want some brief outline of what all is going to be covered in this series. And there are few participants who have joined recently in a day or two, and therefore they want me to give an outline and then thereafter start the series. So there are few announcements which I would like to make first, and then we'll see the contents, what contents we are going to cover in this series. Trust me, friends, if you all attend this series, I'm very sure that at least you will be aware. See, being a chartered accountant, because most of the participants, I believe, are chartered accountants, rather advocates also. It's not that only chartered accountants, but also advocates rarely get the opportunity to read the interpretation of statutes. We read a particular provision, we read the case laws pertaining to it, we go through the legal maxims which are applied in that particular case law, but we never read the entire gamut of interpretation of statute principles. So therefore, now you and I have the opportunity of going through each of the principles which are useful for the interpretation of statutes, construction, and the legal maxims which are commonly used and must be used when we draft a legal representation or maybe a legal reply or a writ petition or an appeal. So therefore, I intend to cover the interpretation of statutes in an exclusive manner, exhaustive manner. It is not going to be something wherein we'll touch and go. No, it will be supported with the case laws, the ratios which are laid down in that particular case laws, and we'll try to understand how to apply a particular principle or interpretation rule. That is the intention of this particular series. Or believe me, again, I am telling all of you very honestly, सर ये सीरीज जितना आपके लिए है उससे ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट मेरे लिए है. Reason being, I am also here to learn with all of you. I'll read the entire interpretation principles once again, now with the thought process, or rather with the inclination of teaching all of you, or rather giving the knowledge or sharing the knowledge or sharing the view with all of you. So that will add a burden on me. And because of that burden being added on me, I'll be much more responsible while reading the law, reading the principles, because somehow I'll have to let all of you also understand those principles and the views which I am holding. So therefore, as you are inclined to understand the interpretation of statute principles, I am much more inclined. पिछले ऑलमोस्ट एक साल से मैं वेट कर रहा हूँ कि ये सीरीज कब हम करेंगे और कब मुझे वो अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी कि मैं इंटरप्रिटेशन के प्रिंसिपल्स को आपके साथ सीख सकूं. So this is what I intend to cover. I'll show you the contents also. Just give me some time, and then we'll have some brief understanding also कि कहाँ कहाँ क्या क्या चीज़ें होती हैं और किस पर्सपेक्टिव से आपको समझना है. See, we all might be having the books also. GP Singh, Justice GP Singh की एक book आती है, Statute Principles of Statutory Interpretation. It is a wonderful book. Then you can have a book of authored by the very famous author Dr. Avatar Singh. Then there is another book which is said to be the Bible of the interpretation, which is what I can say, the book of Maxwell. You can refer that book also. And then even Benyon is a wonderful book. And most of these books are published by LexisNexis. So you can have any of the books, or in case you do not have any book, don't worry, because exhaustive material will be there, which will be going through along with the judgments. We'll try to understand that, and we'll try to not only understand but also how we'll try to implement that in our day to day application, day to day submissions, day to day reply drafting and all. So don't worry at all. अगर वो नहीं भी मटेरियल है तो आई विल रिकमेंड नॉट टू रेफर एनी बुक एज ऑफ नाउ. गिव मी सम टाइम, लेट अस रीड टुगेदर. आप मेरे साथ पढ़िए, वो मटेरियल रहेगा, उस मटेरियल से अपन पढ़ते हैं. नाउ वेरी ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चन विच यू ऑल विल बी रेजिंग इज whether this material is going to be shared with all of us. The answer is partially yes, partially no. I'll share the material, but not immediately. After compiling the entire material, I will be sharing with all of you. Now, how it will be shared, I will be letting you know in due course of time. But yes, you will have the entire material with you by the time we complete this series. आपके पास वो material होगा, don't worry about it. Another question which I am getting on a regular basis is whether the recordings will be available. The answer is absolutely yes. The recordings will certainly be available for all of you, but it will be for a limited time period. वी आर डेवलपिंग अ सिस्टम फॉर दैट, जहाँ पे आपको वो टाइम पीरियड के लिए आपको रिकॉर्डिंग अवेलेबल रहेगी. इन few of the cases, rather in most of the cases, on the basis of what we decide, will certainly have a longer period जहाँ पे आप वो रिकॉर्डिंग्स को रेगुलरली वॉच कर सकते हैं जब भी आपको देखना हो तो. So that is also an issue which is resolved. Now the another question is what will be the schedule. Now as we all are aware, there are multiple series which I have started, बिकॉज जून में जब हमने बंद किया, मई जून में 2020 में, उसके बाद से कंटिन्यूसली देयर वर सर्टन डेट्स compliances की. The life was not that easy because corona was already on. Then the festivals were there, and since tough times were there, so I have not started at that time also. Then I planned to start after 31st March. Then April it all started with the second wave और बहुत बहुत scary position था. So I was not in a position to start at that point in time also. So now what I have done is I have started all the series which I have committed. So we are presently having 4 series which are on. One is GST rules, which I am conducting on all Sundays, all the Sundays, every Sunday from 11 to 1. Then yesterday we have started second batch of GST Act and rules. That batch has been started on the request of various professionals, and I have started with that with the intention of contributing to the society in whatever manner it is possible for me and for all of us. Third batch is case mining, second batch which is going on. It is there on every Saturday and every Wednesday. And the act batch will be Monday and Thursday. And every alternate Saturday, we'll have this series of principles of statutory interpretation. Now, principles of statutory interpretation as such is an interesting aspect, is an interesting topic. But to be very honest, ये एक pure theoretical subject है. Unless we combine this with some practical things and the case laws, it is not going to be made that effective. And therefore, what we have decided it is every alternate Saturday we'll keep this session of principles of statutory interpretation. And in spite of Dividing this into 12 sessions, we'll have 18 sessions of 2 hours each. जो ओरिजिनल हमने मई जून में प्लान किया था लास्ट ईयर, हम 3 घंटे का सेशन नहीं करेंगे. विल बी डूइंग 2 आवर्स सेशन every alternate Saturday, and we'll have 18 sessions in spite of 12 sessions. That was original plan. फिर हमने उसको curtail किया था कि let us do 3 hours session and let us have 12 sessions, but now we are again sticking to the original plan, again diverting towards the original plan, because I feel 3 hours continuously sitting and reading the interpretation principles or interpretation rules may be difficult for all of us. So better is to have a shorter duration session. So this is what I have thought of. Now friends, ये था एक overview. Let us see the contents which I am going to cover in this particular session, in this particular series. Yes. This is what we will be reading in this duration of 18 sessions. And it is exclusive, exhaustive coverage of all the interpretation of statutes. And we are also trying to cover around, I cannot commit, but around 100 of the legal maxims which are commonly used in the by the legal fraternity or advocates or the jurists. We are trying to we will be including that, incorporating the discussions pertaining to those 100 maxims also, along with the statutory interpretations. So that is the intention. So what we are trying to, will be first starting with the introduction and the general principles of interpretation. When I say general principles of interpretation and introduction, you all are aware introduction means that what all is going to be covered, what is the interpretation per se, what is the term meaning, whether it is defined somewhere or not, how to interpret it, if a dictionary has to be relied upon to understand the construction and the interpretation term, the interpretation per se is used when and why it is important or why it is required. All those things we'll try to understand in next session, along with the general principles. When I say general principles, then there are certain very important principles which are attached to the interpretations. Very, very important principles, like when a statute is being enacted, can a court of law interpret something which was supposed to be there but which is not written in the institute? The point which I am trying to make is, अगर आपके लॉ में कुछ लिखा है, मान लेते हैं कि वो जो इंटेंशन था लेजिस्लेचर का उससे डिफरेंट है या वो इंटेंशन के अकॉर्डिंग नहीं है, तो क्या कोई कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ जाके उसको रीराइट कर सकता है? द आंसर इज नो. So these are the principles which we need to understand and appreciate, that we will have to read the statute, read any law, not only on the basis of the words which are written, that means the plain meaning of the sentences. So that again is a principle, that you need to read the statute and try to correlate the words which is written or the provisions which is written as per the plain meaning. You simply apply the plain meaning of the sentences which are written. So that is a principle of interpretation. At the same time, you also need to appreciate that if something is written which is ambiguous, then in that case the court or the interpreting authority comes into play. या तो court होगा, appellate authority होगी, but there will be some of the authorities who will come into play. But at the same time, those authorities cannot go beyond what is written in the law. They cannot say कि लॉ में तो ये लिखा हुआ होना चाहिए था, ये नहीं लिखा है इसलिए हम इसको रीराइट करने की बात करते हैं. No, they cannot do it. Whatever is written, they will have to interpret that only. But that interpretation will be from the context of the statute as a whole, intention of the legislature, that what intention was there due to which this law came into picture. Let me take an example. I am a person who is known for the taxation because I'm a chartered accountant also. So let us take an example of GST. what was the issue in GST which ought to be interpreted or which ought to be resolved? What was the issues in the earlier taxes, not in GST, which was supposed to be resolved because of the implementation of GST? लेकिन GST में एक बार अगर कुछ लिख दिया, then unless it is amended by the parliament, the courts cannot amend it, the courts can interpret it. So that is what we need to learn, that which are the principles which becomes relevant for the purpose of interpretation of that particular situation or that particular provision. This is one. Then there are various rules of interpretation that we'll be reading over the period of time. Let me give an example. A literal construction, rule of literal construction, or there may be the strict construction. Now when I say literal construction means it's a relaxed thing कि आप पढ़ रहे हैं, पढ़ के जो उसका plain meaning आ रहा है आप उसको interpret कर रहे हैं. But on the contrary अगर मैं देखूं तो strict construction अगर आप देखेंगे, because I expect and I presume most of us are chartered accountants who are there in this particular series, we are aware of a fact that a taxation statute is always required to be strictly interpreted. What does the term strictly interpretation, strict construction means? Strict construction means that the mind should not be applied. Whatever is written, if it is conditional or if it is not conditional, it has to be applied as it is. लेट मी गिव एन एग्जाम्पल. अभी आपने एक रिसेंटली एक ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट पढ़ा होगा कि जहां पे भी एग्जेम्पशंस या कोई बेनिफिट पास ऑन होता है तो हमेशा उसको आपने स्ट्रिक्टली इंटरप्रेट करना है. मीनिंग देयर बाय इफ एनी कंडीशंस इज देयर फॉर अवेलिंग और फ्रॉम फॉर गेटिंग एन एग्जेम्पशन और अ बेनिफिट, you will have to read the exemption notification or the exemption clause and interpret it very, very strictly. This was a judgment of Dilip Kumar by Honorable Supreme Court, very recent judgment. So that is strict construction. So there are strict constructions also which are required. And then comes the beneficial construction. कि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि दो लॉ एक जगह एक जैसे होते हैं, बट वहां पे आपको एग्जैक्टली इंटरप्रिटेशन उस लेवल पे करना पड़ता है जहां पे आप बेनिफिशियल कंस्ट्रक्शंस करते हैं उस लॉ की एप्लीकेबिलिटी के ऊपर. एंड मोर और लेस इट इज ऑलवेज constructed in a beneficial manner for the persons who are supposed to follow the law in most of the cases. We'll go through all those things in detail. I'm just giving an idea कि rules of interpretation और ये सारी चीजें क्यों important है और वो क्यों समझ में आनी चाहिए और समझनी जरूरी है. Then it comes harmonious construction. When there are two clauses which have an interplay or which have different meanings, then we go for the harmonious construction. जो दोनों के लिए suitable हो उस तरीके का हम कंस्ट्रक्शन करते हैं, उस तरीके का इंटरप्रिटेशन करते हैं which is there suitable for both the sides. What kind of examples can be there? We'll try to touch upon. Everything will be covered. Then एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज मुझे लगती है, दैट इज मिस्चीफ रूल. एक रूल था कि क्या कमियां रह गई, एग्जिस्टिंग जो है उसमें क्या कमी है जो नए में नहीं होनी चाहिए. जब हम जीएसटी लेके आए तो क्या कमियां थी पुराने लॉ में. जब हम कंपनीज एक्ट 1956 को हटा के रिपील करके कंपनीज एक्ट 2013 लेके आए तो व्हाट वर द शॉर्टकमिंग्स इन ओल्ड कंपनी लॉ. When that mischief is resolved, we need to interpret from the angle of that particular mischief ki what were the issues in the erstwhile regime which we are expecting now to get resolved. So that is also a rule of interpretation wherein we need to apply our mind, we need to apply the logic, and then we need to interpret or understand what exactly this new law is made for. So the conditions is कि ये जो नया लॉ आया उसके पहले क्या लॉ था, कौन सा ऐसा मिस्टेक या डिफेक्ट था जिसको सुधारने के लिए नए लॉ को लाया गया. लॉ के अंदर क्या रेमेडी प्रोवाइड की गई और उस रेमेडी का रीजन क्या. So therefore, these are the conditions which have to be there in the mischief rule. Then there are another ways of interpreting purposive construction, that what was the purpose. You analyze and you understand the purpose first, and then you understand the provision. Let me take an example. जब हम इसकी बात करते हैं पर्पस की, सो जब जीएसटी लॉ बना तो दे सेट कि what is the purpose of having inverted duty structure. So the purpose of inverted duty structure was that none of the amount should be accumulated. मीनिंग देयर बाई जो पुराने रिजीम के अंदर टैक्स एक्यूमुलेट हो जाया करते थे, जीएसटी आने के बाद वो टैक्स एक्यूमुलेट नहीं होने चाहिए. दैट वाज द इंटेंशन, एंड द इंटेंशन वाज आल्सो linked with the condition wherein they have said that if an input is of higher rate than the output, then in that case प्लीज बेयर इन माइंड, जो भी आपका एक्यूमुलेशन इसकी वजह से हो रहा था क्योंकि आपका इनपुट ज्यादा रेट का आउटपुट लोअर रेट का था, तो वो एक्यूमुलेशन को आपको हम रिफंड दे देंगे. देयर विल नॉट बी एनी कैस्केडिंग इम्पैक्ट, देयर विल नॉट बी एनी ब्लॉकेज ऑफ वर्किंग कैपिटल. दैट वाज द इंटेंशन. So therefore, lot of times you need to apply that intention of the legislature, that purpose of that particular provision, and then accordingly interpret the dispute. So friends, one thing is very important which we need to understand and appreciate before going into this ocean, before taking a dive into this ocean of interpretation of the statute. And that is, there has to be a dispute, an ambiguity in a statute or a particular provision of the statute, which must be raised by any of the parties who are getting affected, and for the resolution of that particular dispute, or identifying or interpreting or understanding the applicability and the resolution of the dispute, we need to apply these rules of interpretation. अब these rules cannot be applied simultaneously to one issue. Please appreciate, आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि सारे रूल्स नहीं लगेंगे. In a particular situation, only one of the rules will be made applicable. But you will have to select which rule is made applicable. That can be on the basis of the past precedences, that is cases. That may be on the basis of the situation and facts of the case. That may be on the basis of trials and errors. कि आप पहले एक interpretation rule लगाएं, उससे क्या meaning निकल के आ रहा है. Then you apply the second one, then you apply the third one, and try to identify the actual meaning of it and the resolution of that particular issue. So friends, this is few of the examples which I wanted to give at this introduction session about the interpretation rules. Then it comes to aids of construction. There are two aids. या तो आप external aids या import या help ले सकते हैं कंस्ट्रक्शन करने के लिए, एक पर्टिकुलर डिस्प्यूट का या एक पर्टिकुलर मीनिंग के लिए या इंटरप्रिटेशन के इशू के लिए, या आप एक्सटर्नल एड्स ले सकते हैं. So what are the internal aids? Internal aids, one of the most important internal aid can be how that law is written. What are the headings? What are the punctuations which are used? Whether there are any instructions or illustrations given. You can use all those. So meaning thereby, what is internal aid of construction? Internal means जो लॉ के अंदर ही आपको हेल्प करने के लिए दिए गए हैं. दैट इज इंटरनल एड. कि आप जब लॉ पढ़ रहे हैं तो उसकी हेडिंग से ही पता चल रहा है कि हेडिंग क्या कहना चाहता है. नेचर ऑफ सप्लाई सेक्शन 7, इट इज नॉट डेफिनेशन ऑफ सप्लाई. सो जब आप वो सेक्शन की हेडिंग पढ़ रहे हैं तो यू विल गेट सम आइडिया कि इसमें क्या है. सेक्शन 54 रिफंड्स, दैट मीन्स दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोविजन इज पर्टेनिंग टू रिफंड्स. अब उसमें रिफंड के अलावा अगर कुछ लिखा हुआ होगा और दैट बिकम्स रिडंडेंट प्रोविजन. सो देयरफॉर बहुत सारे ऐसे इंटरनल चीजें हैं जो आपको हेल्प करते हैं. जैसे शेड्यूल्स लिखे हैं. शेड्यूल 2, इट सेज व्हेन अ सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज और व्हेन अ सप्लाई विल बी ट्रीटेड एज सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस. सो दैट इज in schedule. there are n number of provisos which are there in the law. तो हम वो सब देखना चाहेंगे, समझना चाहेंगे। नॉट विद स्टैंडिंग लिखा है तो नॉन ऑब्स्टेंड क्लॉज का क्या इंटरप्रिटेशन आता है, इवन अदरवाइज लिखा है तो उसका क्या इंटरप्रिटेशन आता है, then what is the relevance of provisos, what is the relevance of the marginal notes, what is the relevance of the headings and subheadings, all those things will come into the external aids and the statute interpretation. Then comes the external aids, कि अगर आपको internal aid से भी help नहीं मिलती, then you can rely on the external aids. So there are multiple kind of external aids. जैसे if I have to say the encyclopedia, then you can rely upon the dictionary meanings, you can rely upon the foreign statute, you can rely upon the judgments, the foreign judgments, international law, you can rely upon the history, that what was the history of this provision, पहले क्या था, क्या issues थे जिसकी वजह से ये law लेके आए. So all those things can be used as an external aid, meaning thereby which you are not finding within the statute, and you are relying on something or some material which is not the part of a statute, but which is helping you for interpreting or constructing a particular issue, then in that case, whatsoever is being relied upon becomes the external aid. अगर मैं अब यहाँ पे बात करूँ तो even General Clauses Act, when you refer for interpretation of certain issues in the General Clauses Act, then that becomes also an external aid as per me. Meaning thereby, to be short and precise, अगर आप स्टैच्यूट के अंदर से ही स्टैच्यूट में जो कंटेंट्स हैं उसी में से एग्जामिशन नोटिफिकेशन, एक्सप्लेनेशन नोट्स, ट्रांजिशन प्रोविजंस, आर्टिकल्स, शेड्यूल्स, हेडिंग्स, सब हेडिंग्स, उसमें से कोई इंटरप्रिटेशन या डिटरमाइन कर पाते हैं दैट व्हाट वाज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोविजन, then in that case, yes, that becomes the internal aid of construction. But if you are not able to do that, then you rely on the third party, that means the external aid. आप किसी दूसरे लॉ पे रिलाई करेंगे. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल. हमने पढ़ा एक्शनेबल क्लेम. एक्शनेबल क्लेम का मतलब डिफाइन किया गया जीएसटी लॉ में, जो ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट के सेक्शन 3 में है. तो आपको ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट को रेफर करना पड़ेगा. तो दैट इज एन एक्सटर्नल एड विच यू आर यूजिंग. Or there can be a meaning like motor vehicle to be identified and determined. So you need to understand the meaning of motor vehicle which is there in the Motor Vehicle Act as per as well, plus encyclopedias में भी हो सकता है, लॉ लेक्सिकन्स में भी हो सकता है कि उसकी मीनिंग आपको कुछ मिले जो आपको हेल्प करे कंस्ट्रक्ट करने में. नाउ यू नीड टू ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस in interpretation and construction. There is a difference in interpretation and construction. It is not कि interpretation और construction interchangeably use होते हैं या दोनों एक ही words हैं. See, whenever there is a dispute, it requires the interpretation to be done. I'm repeating, whenever there is an issue or a dispute, it requires the interpretation to be done. And therefore, अगर हम वेबस्टर की डिक्शनरी में देखेंगे तो interpretation is defined as the act or result of interpreting, explanation, meaning, translation, exposition, etc. And construction is what? Construction is the act or process of constructing the way in which something is constructed, manner or method of building. Meaning thereby अगर मैं इसको और थोड़ा सा extend करूं तो interpretation is what? It is action of explaining the meaning of something. अगर किसी का मीनिंग आपको फाइंड आउट करना है तो दैट इज इंटरप्रिटेशन. बट व्हाट इज कंस्ट्रक्शन? कंस्ट्रक्शन इज बियॉन्ड दैट. कंस्ट्रक्शन इज टू कंक्लूड. आई वुड से एज पर मी कंस्ट्रक्शन इज व्हेन यू कंक्लूड what is the exact meaning and how it has to be used in a particular statute. So therefore, interpretation and construction, these two at times may be used as interchangeably, but technically these two are two different aspects to understand. So over the period of time, जब हम ये सीरीज में आगे जाएंगे और कुछ केसेस देखेंगे, तो from those cases we'll come to know how to interpret and how to understand these provisions and how to construct the meaning of the same. Then there are subsidiary rules also. There are few subsidiary rules. So external aid, I think you all are now clear. When you are relying on the external something, then it becomes the external aid for construction, which helps you in identifying or determining the meaning or interpretation of the particular issue. Then we'll also go through subsidiary rules of interpretation. There are subsidiary rules to these main rules, like what was the last antecedent? What is non-obstant clause? How does it override? What does it mean when a notwithstanding something is written? Because you will find notwithstanding anything contained in this section, notwithstanding anything contained in this act, notwithstanding anything contained anywhere in this act. So, therefore, there are multiple phrases which are being used, which you come through when you read the statute. So, therefore, what does it specify? What exactly it is specify? Then there are certain legal fictions. So, those are the subsidiary rules of interpretations. Then a justum generis, then there can be the general words which are being used, which can be used for construction. So all those things we'll try to understand in the chapter or in the session of subsidiary rules of interpretation. Then thereafter, different parts of the operation of a statute. Again, I'm sure you will be able to understand what does this mean. This means that how this law has came into place, whether any retrospective operation of a particular statute is possible or not. एक स्टैच्यूट तो बना दिया, लेकिन वो स्टैच्यूट क्या रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली ऑपरेट हो सकता है? अगर हो सकता है, तो वेदर द अथॉरिटी और द पार्लियामेंट हैज द पावर टू मेक द retrospective law, whether the statute is dealing with the substantive rights or a procedure. हम जब लॉ पढ़ते हैं, जीएसटी एक्ट पढ़ते हैं, तो जीएसटी एक्ट इज अ सब्सटैंटिव लॉ, वेयरएज जब हम प्रोसीजर पढ़ते हैं तो इट इज रूल्स, जीएसटी रूल्स. सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ रूल यू आर रीडिंग, whether it is a statute which relates to succession, transfer of a contract, or it is a law which relates to the limitation, then whether it is a penal statute or a fiscal statute. So lot of such things जो आप रेगुलरली एज अ प्रोफेशनल आपको सुनने को मिलता होगा कि ये तो फिजिकल स्टैच्यूट है, ये तो पिनल स्टैच्यूट है, ये रेमेडियल स्टैच्यूट है. सो व्हाट डज दोज statute parts or operations stand for? What is remedial statute? What is the penal statute? What is the difference between remedial and penal statute? When a statute exceeds the constitutional powers, all those things we'll try to cover up in this subsidiary rules of interpretation and the different parts of operation of statute. Then expiry and repeal of statute. This is again very important. आज पुराने लॉ रिपील हो गए, सर्विस टैक्स का लॉ रिपील हो गया, या वैट रिपील हो गया, या एक्साइज रिपील हो गया, तो उसकी रिपीलमेंट जो है उस वो रिपील कैसे हो रहा है, which are the saving clauses of those repeal provisions, when it is actually expiring, when those statutes are actually expiring. So all those contents, all those things and the principles we'll try to cover up in this session, which deals with the expiry and repeal of the statutes. Then it comes the statutes which are affecting crown or the state. So there are certain general principles and the rules and the extent to which those rules are applicable. We'll try to understand that. And yes, the next chapter is again very important. Statutes which are affecting the court's jurisdiction. There are certain statutes which impact the jurisdiction of the court also. आप देखेंगे तो जीएसटी लॉ के अंदर भी देयर इज अ प्रोविजन कि नो सिविल कोर्ट हैज एनी jurisdiction on the actions which are taken under the GST Act except High Court. So किसी भी कोर्ट का, यानी कोई भी लोअर कोर्ट हैज नो jurisdiction whatsoever. डिपार्टमेंट ही करेगा जो भी उनको करना है. अगर कोई jurisdiction कोर्ट आती है तो दैट इज हाई कोर्ट. It is not lower court, it is not sessions court, it is not district court. So therefore, what statute has the limitations of jurisdiction of the courts. So we also need to understand that which are the cases where the breach of statutory duties are there, or the omission of exercise of the statute power is there, or the statutes which are excluded, the extent of the exclusion of those statutes कि कितने extent तक exclude किया. जैसे मैंने example दिया कि इसमें lower court session courts को exclude किया है, but high court is included into that. So there are certain things wherein even high court is not there. It is directly either the Supreme Court or they have their own special courts. So that will come to know, and they will that will try to understand from this. And next, we all being chartered accountants and advocates who are more or less practicing in the taxation regime. So strict construction of the taxation statutes, again, very very important, because every time it is being said, majority of us we understand and appreciate this, that the statute which deals with the fiscal aspect, that is the taxation related statutes and the provisions thereof, needs to be interpreted very very strictly. You cannot have the what I can say, literal or liberal instructions, constructions. Literal तो ठीक है, but you cannot be a liberal interpreter so far as the taxing statutes are concerned. And therefore, जो मैंने भी example दिया दिलीप कुमार, it is a classic example wherein a taxing statute giving any exemption or any relief to the taxpayer needs to be interpreted very very strictly. It cannot be a liberal construction or a liberal interpretation in that particular case. So we'll read all those interpretation principles, interpretation rules in case of the taxing statutes. Then it comes the remedial and penal statutes. कौन से आपके penal statutes हैं, कौन से remedial statutes हैं, उनमें distinctions क्या हैं, and how to construct liberally the remedial statutes, what are the general principles, which are the important cases because of which the interpretation is coming that this is a liberal construction of the remedial statute. Then again the same interpretations for the strict construction of the penal statutes, because remedial may you can be liberal because that is something which, or that is a statute which provides for a remedy, but penal statutes may you will have to be very very strict. So therefore the distinction between remedial statute and penal statutes needs to be understood very very clearly कि कौन सा statute penal है, कौन सा statute remedial है. Because penal अगर statute है तो in that case nothing can be done, it has to be interpreted strictly only, there is no other option. Whereas if it is a remedial statute, then in that case yes, we can have a liberal instructions and constructions also. Then the importance of the term Latin term which is mens rea. Mens rea अगर है तो उसके लिए स्टैट्यूटरी ऑफेंसेस में अगर मेंस रिया है तो उसके लिए क्या प्रिंसिपल्स हैं और कौन से ऐसे केसेस हैं जो उस पर्टिकुलर स्पेसिफिकली टर्म के लिए आइडेंटिफिकेशन करते हैं या डिटर्मिनेबल फैक्टर्स हैं. विल ट्राई टू रीड ऑल दोज थिंग्स and how mens rea is treated under the Indian Penal Code, because that is a penal statute. So how it is taken care of in the IPC, that also will be part of this. Delegated legislatures, there are various delegated legislatures, तो वो भी इंटरप्रिटेशन आपको पता होना चाहिए कि डेलीगेटेड लेजिस्लेचर यानी आप अगर रूल्स के अंदर पढ़ रहे हैं तो वो रूल्स लिखने के लिए या डेलीगेटेड लेजिस्लेशन के लिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लिमिट्स क्या हैं, how and what kind of forms of delegated legislatures are there, and what are the constitutional limits pertaining to those delegated legislations, उसके ऊपर वो नहीं जा सकता. Then if we are unable to find the meaning of everything, तो आप anything, then we have a Ramband with us wherein it is clearly said कि अगर आपको किसी term का meaning, now please try to understand, this is also a rule of interpretation and from this we can start. And this is my view, maybe something else, someone else has a different view, but this is my view and my methodology of reading a law. If you find the meaning of a particular term being used in a statute, then you will have to borrow the same meaning. You cannot go out of that purview. अगर जीएसटी एक्ट के अंदर ऑडिट का टर्मिनोलॉजी डिफाइंड है, then audit term, wherever it is used in GST, will have the same meaning. I'm repeating, if any term is defined in a particular statute, then for the purpose of that particular statute and the application of meaning of that particular term, you will have to rely on the meaning which is provided by the statute. On the other hand, if a term is not defined in the law, then you need to refer to the law where it is defined. Let's take an example: motor vehicle actionable claims. So there are multiple terms which may not be defined in GST law, but which are defined in some other law. Then you can borrow the meaning of that, provided it is mentioned. जैसे आप actionable claim का definition पढ़ेंगे तो it is mentioned कि ट्रांसफर प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट में आप जाएं, वहां पे जो मीनिंग है वो एक्शनेबल क्लेम की मीनिंग आप ले लें. मोटर व्हीकल में जब जाएंगे तो वहां पे भी लिखा हुआ है कि मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट में जो है वो आप ले लें. अगर नहीं है, किसी भी स्टैट्यूट में मीनिंग आपको नहीं मिलता, देन यू विल हैव टू रेफर जनरल क्लॉजेज एक्ट 1897. So there are certain rules which are laid down, prescribed in General Clauses Act also to determine, to interpret, and to identify and construct the meaning of a particular thing. So therefore, we'll also cover General Clauses Act. And along with all this, I also intend to cover the commonly used legal maxims. For we'll try to interpret and discuss that. Now, when I say commonly used, इट डज नॉट मीन कि जो हम मोस्ट कॉमन होगा वो, बट वो जो यूज होने चाहिए इन आवर डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज. सो विल ट्राई टू कवर अराउंड 100. I intend to cover around 100. I'm not sure how much I will be able to cover, but I intend to cover at least 100 maxims which can help us on day to day basis, which may include audit ultram partem. We can include that, even mens rea. सो विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, और उसके साथ में जो उसके केसेस हैं, जो अभी तक के प्रेसिडेंसेस हैं फॉर इंटरप्रेटिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर मैक्सिम, विल ट्राई टू इंक्लूड दैट. So friends, this is the contents, table of contents which I intend. These are the 14 chapters which I intend to share with all of you in this series of 18 sessions. If need be, we may include or extend the number of sessions. Don't worry, but this is the content that we are certainly going to cover in the entire series. We have started late, but no problem. As I have already said, it is better late than never. तो हम ट्राई करेंगे कि हम जितना भी अच्छी तरीके से कवर कर सकें, और प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टैट्यूटरी इंटरप्रिटेशन, उनके रूल्स, कंस्ट्रक्शन के एड्स और लीगल मैगजिम्स को हम समझ सकें. दैट विल बी हेल्पफुल not only to you. See, this is a selfish exercise which I am doing because it is commonly said and we have heard multiple times that the best way to learn is to teach. So I am willing to do the same. आपके साथ मैं भी पढ़ूंगा and will try to read it, because when I have read this 3 times, I have read as a student. Now when I have to also share the views which comes because of reading of all this with all of you, I'll read it in a different manner, and therefore it will add value to me also. And I am hopeful, rather I am very sure, that we all are going to be benefited from this series. And this series is going to be one of the wonderful series if all of you attends. 18 sessions तो हैं ही जो हम करने वाले हैं, but at the same time, the another very important aspect is we'll also have question and answers. We'll have something so that you all are included, involved in this series, and it is not a formality that we do, it is also an undertaking and understanding. तो हम रियली वो चीज़ें समझें जो हमें समझना चाहिए एज अ लॉयर, एज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, बिकॉज हमारे interpretation of statute is certainly one portion in our curriculum, but it is not a subject as a whole. But this is most important being a student of law, being a chartered accountant, being a tax advocate, being an advocate, you will have to understand the nitty gritties and the way and the manner in which you need to interpret the law, and which are the rules, which are the principles those are to be applied for interpreting a particular law. So, friends, this was the intention of today's sessions, and I wanted to explain to all of you what we are going to cover, what will be the content, and how we are going to cover, and when I'll be able to, and how I'm going to share the material with all of you. One thing is very sure: while conducting these sessions, the material will not be shared. I'll be sharing the entire material after the session, not before the session. If you want to read something, the contents are already I have displayed कि क्या मैं cover करने वाला हूँ. If you want to know then next session में क्या होने वाला है, I will tell you that also. I'll name let me name once again. Justice GP Singh is one of the good books. इंडिया में बहुत ज़्यादा यूज होती है, बट द बेस्ट बुक इज मैक्सवेल on interpretation of statute. You can read that, Maxwell. Then Brooms is for legal maxim. Then Benyon is there, which is for statutory interpretation. So there are multiple books. Dr. Avatar Singh is one of the books. You can read any of those books. Rather, I would submit कि आप fresh आइए. Don't read anything in advance. आप session attend करिए. I am damn sure if you are attentive, you will be able to understand everything. सेशन के बाद जो मटेरियल आपको दे रहे हैं वो मटेरियल आप पढ़िए, फिर आपको जो भी क्वेरीज हैं देन यू कैन रेज दोस क्वेरीज टू अस. दैट विल बी द बेस्ट वे ऑफ डूइंग इट इन स्पाइट ऑफ परचेजिंग सम बुक, रीडिंग इट, and then coming to the session. I will say you come blank. That will be beneficial for all of us, for you also, for me also, and we'll try to write fresh the statutory principles of interpretation. With this, friends, I'm thankful to each one of you for keeping the patience, giving me this opportunity, holding the patience for almost 1 year, I would say, because May में अगर किया था तो it is now May, and having a trust on me. And once again I'm apologizing that I could not start it before. I have tried to launch this multiple times, but हर बार there were certain participants जो कहते थे कि अभी issues हैं, अभी compliance की dates हैं, then again the corona was disturbing, then it was festival time, lot of such things has happened, but no problem. At least now we have started and we'll continue with this journey, and we all will learn together. Shalini, is there any question?
Yes, sir, there are questions, but all are related to books and the material only.
So material, I have already said that material will be providing, that is not an issue. वो तो कोई इशू है ही नहीं. और बुक्स का भी आई हैव नेम्ड द बुक्स आल्सो, प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टैट्यूटरी इंटरप्रिटेशन. यू कैन रीड मैक्सवेल, जीपी सिंह, अवतार सिंह, एनी ऑफ द बुक्स कैन बी टेकन. मैं ऐसा रिकमेंड कर चुका हूँ कि आप बुक ना लें तो ज़्यादा बेटर है. एंड आई थिंक नेक्स्ट सेशन विल बी ऑन 29th May.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be sampling on 29th May, and I'll be sharing the topic that we'll be covering in next session. So basically it is going to be introduction and the basic principles of interpretation. Any और कोई question है? Any specific question?
No, sir.
Okay. So friends, thank you so much once again, and let us continue with this journey of learning together. And I'm very sure that at the time we complete this series, we all will be very well versed with the principles of statutory interpretation, constructions, and the most important and commonly used legal maxims. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.